interactive session with Kunal Kapoor in a very short while from now. And I hope you've had a good time. How's it feeling to be a part of this festival, being here? Would anyone like to answer? Very good, right? And did you enjoy the short films? Yeah, I really liked The Devil Inside Me and Lockdown, of course. And the rest very good. Well, that's my personal opinion. And Kunal is getting ready. He'll be here in 5 minutes from now. Do bear with us. Well, we're going to start the interactive session with Kunal now and request all of you to come forward. There's a lot of seats vacant here. So friends, we have this very young, dashing and charismatic Kunal Kapoor with us today. And of course, all of us, we know that he acted in Brahmaputra, for which he received the nomination in the Filmfare Best Supporting Actor Award category. In 2012, Kunal played the role in Samir Sharma's film, Love Shavte Chicken Kurana, which was well received by film enthusiasts across the country. And one of his forthcoming projects includes a film by Anurag Kashyap, where he plays Durga, a popular superhero from features in Raj Comics. And today, for this interactive session, we would like to request Hasina Karbi, a social entrepreneur with a management background. Hasina is a founder, president and presently the team leader of Impulse NGO Network, a social organization working on issues of child trafficking, HIV/AIDS intervention and livelihood support initiatives for rural Northeast India. May we have a round of applause for Hasina and Kunal Kapoor.
Hey guys, thank you so much for being here and thank you so much for having me here. Thank you.
I think you have had a lot of Kunal for the whole day today, but we'll really get deeper in getting to know Kunal tonight. How much of all of you know much about Kunal? What's the best favorite thing of Kunal that all of you know before I start this conversation with him? So you really have a lot of fans back here in Guwahati, and I think your smile is something that everybody is captivated by.
I'll just keep smiling through this.
So Kunal, welcome to the Northeast, and this is your first trip to the Northeast?
This is my first trip.
And how is your first trip?
Well, it's been really short. I mean, I just got in this morning, and it's really strange because I've made plans to come to the Northeast a couple of times, and they've always fallen through. And actually I have a lot of friends from Guwahati who are in Bombay now. So we've spoken a lot about Guwahati, lots about coming here, traveling through the Northeast and stuff, but unfortunately it's never worked out. And this time again it's just for one day. And I'm going back tomorrow. Because I was to come in yesterday, but then I fell sick and so I had to take a flight this morning. So I'm going back tomorrow, but I'm going to be back soon for sure. I'm going to be back soon with a couple of friends, and we really want to travel through and see this part of the country. So we're going to be back soon for sure.
Well, Kunal, I think you've been a heartthrob for a lot of young people, especially with your debut with Rang De Basanti.
Sure.
Would you like to share more about your experience with that film?
Well, I started off with that film. I was an assistant director. I was an assistant director with Rakesh Mehra, and I was an assistant when Rang De Basanti was being written actually. So I remember I used to actually type out the draft of the film. And that's how my association with the film started. And then I went to Delhi and I did some theatre there with Barry John. And I came back and Rakesh asked me if I wanted to test for the role. And I was like, yeah, of course, sure. I mean, I'd love to do that. And so he put me through 3 tests for Rang De Basanti before I was the second one on the film. The first one was Atul Kulkarni. Then consequently came Sharman and then Amir and then Siddharth. So I did a screen test with Atul, both of us together, because we are almost lovers in the film. We have a love-hate relationship in the film. So they wanted to make sure that me and Atul look good together. So usually they have the hero and the heroine testing together. This time me and Atul Kulkarni were testing together. So we tested together and I was on the film. And it was amazing. I mean, while making the film as well, I think all of us felt like we were onto something special. Not in terms of necessarily how it would do at the box office, but we all felt like, you know, we were making a film that was the sort of film that we wanted to be part of. But I think none of us anticipated that it would become a movement. You know, I think it became much more than a film. In fact, there's a documentary now on Guwahati about how it's not a movie anymore, it's a movement. So for us, that was something that we didn't expect.
I mean, how was your experience with Amir Khan? I mean, like, you know.
Well, Amir Khan is the devil himself, actually. You know, he's a brat. He's really mischievous. And you know, when you're working with him, we used to all go on to the set and we all knew that there was some prank in store for somebody or the other today. So everybody was constantly watching their backs, you know, watching what they wanted to say, because he had this phone of his and he'd do really strange things. I remember he called an assistant director in once and he found out that the assistant director was seeing somebody on the set and he hadn't told anyone. So he started pretending like he was sending a message out on his phone. And all the while he was recording this assistant director. And he started talking to him about how this girl that he was seeing was like a sister of his. And you know, he's really upset and you know, so that guy started confessing. And then he had his own confession on the phone and for the rest of the shoot, I think he threatened him to do all the things that he wanted him to do. So he'd say, bring this for me or the video is going on. Do this or the video is going on. So it was a minefield actually being on Guwahati because you never knew what was coming your way. And it was obviously a lot of fun. We all got along really well. I mean, by the end of it, we had come back to Bombay and we were still living out of each other's houses because we had got that close. In fact, I remember there's a song. You guys know Rubaru, of course. Everybody that's seen the film. And that's a song that we'd all go to jail. After this, we're not going to see each other. And that song was shot on the last day of the shooting. That was the last shot that we did for the whole film. So all of us were actually emotional because we were not going to see each other either. You know, after that song, because it would be over, the film would be over. And I remember a couple of assistant directors had to be rushed off the set because they were sobbing and they were crying. So it was a really like almost cathartic, emotional experience while shooting the film as well, that one particular song.
The other part is that you're an actor, but you've also had a lot of experience behind you. I mean, from script writing, you know, to assistant production, to advertisement. How did that happen? Because everybody, when they get into Bollywood, is always straight as an actor. But for you, you have a change of other kind of experiences in the film industry.
Sure, you know, I think growing up, I was very certain that I wanted to be in the movies. I tried a lot of different professions. I worked in the stock market for a year and a half. I worked in a construction company for a year, but all along, the only thing that I really wanted to do was be in the movies. Because I remember growing up, I was very introverted, but the only time I really opened up was when I was telling stories. So I used to get really animated when there was a story to talk about, or you know, I heard something interesting. So storytelling was something that was inherent to me, and it was natural to me, and you know, it was something that I really wanted to do. But I had no idea about the industry because I had nobody from the industry. So I felt like it was very important that I sort of understand the industry before I decided to become an actor or director. And I started off as a production assistant in advertising, after which I started assisting Rakesh. And I remember while assisting Rakesh, I used to spend more time in front of the camera than behind. So if somebody had to stand in for an actor, I used to stand in. If somebody had to rehearse a scene, I used to do it. If a junior artist was missing, I would do the part. I mean, if you watch Ops now, there'll be lots of shots of me running by, smoking a cigarette in the corner, doing all those like small little shots. So one day Rakesh called me and he said, you know, dude, listen, you spend more time in front of the camera than behind. I mean, I know you want to be an actor, so why are you wasting your time, you know, assisting and stuff? I think you should go and you should pursue acting really seriously. I think he was also trying to get rid of an assistant director because he was like, let's just get rid of this guy. But yeah, so after that I started taking acting seriously.
Do you think, like, for any young person, because you started quite young, you know, from advertisement to script writing and all of that, do you think as a young person it's very important to start anywhere, or do you think that they should just focus what they want to do? I mean, what's your...
Well, I think it depends on, see, with me I was not sure whether I wanted to be in front of the camera or behind. I knew I wanted to be in the movies. I knew that I wanted to tell stories. I mean, that was really important to me. But I wasn't sure whether it would be as an actor or as a director. So, you know, it was very important for me to discover all that. But I think if you know what you want, I mean, if you know you want to be an actor, then I think that's what you should focus on. Because it's a speciality, it's a specialized sort of thing. I think what they do out west really well is they have schools for actors and directors and writers. They have courses. I mean, the amount of time you'd spend becoming an engineer or a doctor or something, you would spend an equal amount of time training as an actor. So these are specialized things, and I think the sooner that you know that this is what I want to do, the more you should focus on that instead of like sort of dabbling in other things.
But you've also had experiences in theatre. I mean, you have been with Nasiruddin Shah, is also like so much about theatre personality and also about an art film. How was your theatre experience? I mean, you didn't want to stick on to theatre, or it's just like theatre was just part and...
Yeah, it was part of, I guess, you know, discovering myself as an actor. It was absolutely brilliant working with Nasir Bhai, because when I worked with him, he was doing a play called The Prophet, which is this Khalil Gibran thing which he does alone. And it was a 2-hour thing that he does on his own. And to see somebody who's been in the movies and acting for 40 years, but still, you know, wake up every day and rehearse that with an equal amount of passion and equal amount of sort of sense of discovery was very, very, very fascinating for me. You know, it was an eye-opener, because, you know, we have this notion that acting just happens. You know, people feel like you turn up one day in front of the camera and, you know, you're either an actor or you're not an actor. I think that's bullshit. I think really good actors, whether it's been Amitabh Bachchan, I saw as an assistant, Manoj Bajpayee, Amir Khan, Shah Rukh Khan, Nasir Bhai, they're all people that work very, very hard in their acting. You know, they rehearse over and over again, they put in the equal amount of passion every day. They have a childlike quality, you know, they come to the set and they want to try new things, they want to try different things. So I think it's not something that just happens, it's something that you really have to work at. And that's why I was saying that the sooner you discover what you want to do, whether it's behind the camera or in front of the camera, it's all very specialized, and you should, you know, sort of pay attention and focus only on that.
But beside theatre, I mean, you've also been a person who have taken a lot of strong interest in social issues.
Sure.
Like you just started keto. Right?
Sure.
I mean, what make you, I mean, take over from filming, actor, scriptwriter into social development?
Well, Keto, for those of you that don't know, is an online, it's a platform, it's a crowdfunding platform for social causes, and me and my co-founder Varun started this 2 years back. And in the last year alone, we've raised about 3.5 crores for different social causes. And the idea is to make charity fun. The idea is to make charity accessible. You know, because in our country there's this sort of gravity attached with charity work. You know, when you think of charity and you think of social work, you think it has to be very serious, it has to be very grim, you know, it has to be something that's not accessible to everybody. We wanted to change that, you know, because when you look at crowdfunding platforms that have worked in the West, these are platforms that are a lot of fun. You know, people are making movies to raise money, people are coming up with music videos to raise money, making cakes, you know, garage sales. So we wanted to make charity something that was accessible, especially to young people, because I think young people in this country are dying to do something. Everybody that we reach out to says that, you know, thank you for giving us a chance to sort of put our energies in the right place. So I think young people in this country are waiting to like sort of help and bring about a change, but I don't think there's enough opportunity. So we wanted to make it accessible, and what better way to do that than technology, because, you know, all of us spend so much time on the net, 6, 7, 8 hours. We felt like if you could take out like 15 minutes from that 6, 7, 8 hours, then you could you know, change somebody's life just being on the net.
I think crowdfunding is very new in the country.
Sure it is, yes.
And what made you actually plug in, or how did it just start? I mean, just overnight, or it was like something that you already had a thought about it?
Well, I had a thought, and then fortunately I met Varun Seth, who also had the same thought. So we both were thinking in the same sort of direction. And we both felt like, first of all, offline raising money for charities is very expensive. It's 40-45%. So when you give 100 rupees to an organization, only 50-55 rupees actually goes to them, or 60 rupees goes to them. We wanted to make that very cheap. We wanted to make it like 6-7%, so that when you give about 100 rupees to an organization, 90-95 rupees actually goes to them. Like I said, we felt like the best way to do that and the quickest way to do that was technology, because we wanted to take people that have the means to give and people that need people to give, and sort of bridge that, make a bridge between the two using technology. So that's how, and especially when you started crowdfunding, it was very nascent. There was a lot of people that were resistant to it, but I think a lot of people have now started waking up to it. A lot of people have started contributing to it, and a lot of people are taking it much more seriously now.
So how come your crowdfunding did not focus, for something as an actor or developing or mentoring young actors?
No, that's actually,
why is it that?
That's actually what our next step is. In fact, Keto is one of the partners here, and we want to encourage young filmmakers to come onto our platform and help them raise money as well, because there's always a shortage of funds. I know that, because anybody that's trying to do any sort of thing that is different, it's always difficult to raise money. So we want to encourage young filmmakers here to actually come onto our site, our platform, which is keto.org. There's also a creative section there. So you can list your films there, list what you're attempting to do there, and we can help you raise money for those projects. So that's the direction that we're heading in next. And that's obviously something that I'm really passionate about, because I've seen people really struggle for money. People with great ideas, but there's nobody to finance that great idea. Movies is of course our next step, and we've already taken that, and it will be great if young filmmakers here that are looking for funds, that are looking to reach out to people, you can come onto our platform, use it, and start a campaign and get your friends to sort of help you raise money for the movie that you're looking to make.
So I think that's a good news for the Northeast, isn't it? I think anybody should definitely go to his site and get in touch with him with his first visit and the great offer to the region. I think that's really, really amazing. I also would like to just get back to films. I think Rang Deva Sunday was a talk about film, and it's been very, very focused. But also there's a film called Meenakshi, you acted with Tabu.
Sure.
I mean, what was your experience with working with Tabu?
Well, that was a trippy film actually, to be honest.
Why
because Hussain Saab is somebody that Hussain Saab really works on, normal human beings work on one level. He used to work on 5 different levels, and he was a very evolved man. He was a very deep thinker, and sometimes it was very difficult for somebody like me to sort of comprehend the depth from which he was coming. So it was a bit of a trippy film for me. But having said that, it was a lot of fun. It was great. There was such wonderful people to work with. There was Hussain Saab, there was Tabu, of course, Rahman, who was giving the music, Santosh Sivan, who was shooting the film, Raghuveer Yadav, who was also a co-actor in the film. So it was an incredible learning, and also I think what the best thing that it did for me was I had a chance to interact with Hussain Saab. And I've never met a man that had so much zest for life, so much energy. He was I think about 88 when we were shooting the film, and he used to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go for a walk for 2 hours first, and then he always had his paintbrush in his hand, and he suddenly decided that he wanted to make a painting, and he was making 2-3 paintings a day. He was shooting the film all at 88, and you were like, my God, where does this man get so much energy from? And I remember once I was sitting with him, we were shooting the film in Jaisalmer, and I was sitting outside, and I was looking a little bored, so he came to me and he said, what happened? So I'm just sitting, I'm a little bored. So he was like, how do you guys have the time to get bored? You're so young. How do you have the time to get bored? I'm 88 and there's not been a single day where I've been bored. So give me a flower and I'll sit with it for 2 days. And I'll just be looking at it, and it'll just be fascinating for me. So how do you get bored? Please teach me how somebody can get bored when you're so young. And so he was amazing. He was just an amazing guy to sort of interact with, and God bless him.
And you've got a range of film, Rang de Basante, then you have, Meenakshi, and Done is a completely a different kind of a film altogether. But as an actor, what has been your favorite films so far that you've been involved with?
Well, favorite, of course, Rang de Basanti was special. So was Aaja Nachle. We had a lot of fun making that film. And Love Shabd Chicken Kurana was a film that was very close to my heart because Sameer Sharma, who is the director of the film, is a really close friend of mine. So we had spent a lot of years chatting about the sort of film that we want to make. And in those conversations, the skeleton, the story idea for Love Shabd Chicken Kurana was born. And so I was involved in the film right from its inception. And also our attempt was to do something very different because, we wanted to go to Punjab and make a film that was not the sort of Punjab that you had seen. The moment you think of Punjab, you think of Sarson ke Khet, and you think of people dancing, and you think of, these dholaks and people are all very happy, and it's all just like, so we had seen a very different Punjab because I spent a lot of time there, he spent a lot of time there, and we wanted to make Punjab the sort of Punjab that we had seen, characters that we had seen closely in our lives. And I think everybody that saw the film said that, it was a world that they had not seen before. Even though it was a world set in in Punjab, which has been portrayed for like years and years and years over and over again on screen. But it was a world that they had not seen before, and that for us was a challenge. And because we were able to do that, I think it became really special.
The other bit is coming from a very a family who's your family has been very much Shashi Kapoor, your dad.
No, Shashi Kapoor is not my dad.
Like the whole film industry, they've been involved, right?
Huh.
So being a Kapoor, being linked a Kapoor, like.
Yeah, but I'm a different Kapoor. I'm not a Kapoor from that Kapoor.
No. What I didn't mean to say being that Kapoor, but Kapoor is always associated with Shashi Kapoor, Ranbir Kapoor,
sure,
all of that.
Sure.
How has been your journey?
How's been my journey has been different because, like I said, I'm not from the family of Kapoors. I am from the family of Kapoors, but I'm not from that family of Kapoors. So it was obviously a far more challenging sort of journey because there's nobody ready to back you up and support you and also advise you. And when I started off about 8 years back, outsiders were sort of shunned. There was not so much place for an outsider in the industry. Now, in fact, that's changed a lot. All the big studios are looking to, take actors under their wing and turn them into stars. About 8 years back, it was not like that. So it was very difficult to break through. I think we all got really lucky that we were part of a film like Rang de Basanti. So I got very lucky because Yash Raj sort of signed me up for 3 films after that. And there was a lot of opportunities that opened up for me. But it was a challenge, and it still is a challenge. I think it's always a challenge for everybody because I know the biggest actors in the business, and they are as nervous about making a film and as nervous when the film is about to release because you're completely dependent on an audience, and the audience can come in on Friday and say, "What a rubbish film," and walk out and nobody's going to watch that film. Or you can they can come in and say, "Wow, this is a wonderful film," and it can turn out to be far beyond what you expect. So it's a bit of it is a challenge because there's a few things that are in your control, but a lot that's not in your control.
Because I think if you look at the film industry, we see a lot of them, from generations,
sure.
Comes from families who have been in the movies.
Sure.
And what you just said just now is that, although you're a Kapoor, not from the family of films of Kapoor,
sure.
What I'm trying to say is that how does it be for somebody who's out of the industry and trying to enter? Is it very challenging? How has been your experience?
Well, it's always challenging because, when you look at how many people are looking to become actors and directors and writers in the business, there's so many of them. You go into Bombay and you walk down the street and you'll see like 50 people that are looking to become actors, and so it is challenging. The good thing, like I said, is there's a lot of avenues that have opened up in the movies now. A lot of place for outsiders, and even if it's not the movies, it's television. If it's not television, it's YouTube. If it's not YouTube, it's theatre. So there's a lot of opportunities that have opened up. Which is great because I think till about 10 years back, if you didn't make it in the movies, there was nothing else that you really could do as an actor. Except for maybe do plays and stuff. But that's changed a lot now because television is really opened up and it's really providing opportunities to a lot of people. So I think it's great, it's changing.
And you have been with Barry John School,
sure.
And everybody who's passed out from there are always all the well-known actors, and they really made it. And
Sure.
is that got to do with the school or the experience out there, or it has to be with the individual himself?
Well, I don't think everybody makes it actually. You know, every batch has like about 25, 30 people. So yeah, there's a few people that do make it and a few that don't, unfortunately. But yeah, I think formal training is very important for an actor. Like I said, you know, you can't just turn up and decide to become an actor and think that that will happen. You can't just think that, you know, you'll be in front of the camera and somebody will give you lines and you'll pull some magic trick out of the hat and, you know, you'll start acting. I think formal training is very important. I think, like I was saying, out west, when you look at actors, even the guys doing the smallest part are brilliant actors. When you think of casting for a film, you can think of like 50 names, 60 names, 70 names, because they're all brilliant actors. So I think that sort of that needs to come into our country, because, you know, you need to realize that movies is not something that you can just wake up and do. It's something that you have to train and you have to be focused and you have to be passionate about, and you have to constantly do it, and then it'll happen.
Do you think somebody who started a career in advertising is a good breakthrough to get into Bollywood, or how do you think?
Well, advertising was really just a way to start off. It was never ever going to be a place where I was going to end up, you know. So, I mean, being in the movies was always the target. That was just a sort of starting point.
And besides films and writings and everything that we've spoken, let's get to talk a bit personal of your hobbies. I think you love to, you know, you love flying.
Yeah, I love flying, I love writing. I'm a trained pilot now, a hobby pilot.
Hobby pilot.
Yes, so I go flying. I'm also, I've been training for the last couple of years to drive rally cars.
Okay.
And now I've just graduated to the Formula 3.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, so
you did a Europe rally, isn't it, recently?
I did a rally in Europe where I finished, that was about a year back, finished 17th.
Okay.
But that was not bad. 17th sounds horrible, I know, but it wasn't bad.
So you mean next time we'll see Kunal as a rallist, as a pilot, no longer an actor?
No, acting always. I mean, these are things that
always.
I think it's really important to have things. For me, at least, it's very important to do multiple things, because I think it's very important to discover different things in life. Even as an actor, even as a human being, I think you shouldn't restrict yourself to one thing. It's important to have things that you're passionate about and you would do without money. So if somebody puts me in the cockpit of a plane and says fly, but we will not give you money, I'm willing to do that because it's just great fun. So I think you've got to do a lot of things just because they're fun.
Well, Kunal, I think we've really spoken a lot, but I think the audience has a lot of questions and anxiously. So we'll have 5 to 6 questions. If anybody would like to raise their hand and have a specific question to Kunal. There's somebody there in the white shirt. If somebody could pass the mic.
Hello?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, Kunal, it's something like a little odd like questions. So can I know exactly your height? What's your height?
Well, honestly, I don't know. I just know that I'm really tall, but I don't know how tall.
I hope to be like you have your height.
You can take a couple of inches. I mean, if that is possible, then I'm willing to.
How do I achieve that height? Please.
You've got to answer that.
I think it's genetics. I mean,
Something like
that's not something you can train for.
It's somewhat natural and it's somewhat through gym, I think.
नहीं जिम के थ्रू तो मुझे लगता नहीं. I don't think I'm tall, but yeah.
So let's get another question. There's somebody here.
हेलो कुणाल सर, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वेलकम टू असम.
Thank you so much.
मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि आपसे, जैसा कि आपने देखा असम में ग्रोइंग इंडस्ट्री हो रहा है फिल्म में, तो आपको क्या लगता है कि असम में इंडस्ट्री को ग्रो करने के लिए क्या करना चाहिए?
I think बहुत ज़रूरी है. मैं हमेशा मानता हूँ जैसे I was reading about जो पंजाब की फिल्म इंडस्ट्री है और जो मराठी फिल्म इंडस्ट्री है. Till about 6-7 years back, they were both in the sort of doldrums. They had both seen downs. In fact, the Punjab film industry was almost on the verge of closing. And when I look at those film industries, films that have done really well are films of stories that come from that place. You know what I mean? So I think it's very important that filmmakers that are starting here, actors that are starting here, don't attempt to tell stories just because they're cool somewhere else. I think you have to tell stories that are very close to you, and things that you've seen around you. Amir Khan had told me something really nice. He said, a movie works when you make an audience enter a world that they have not seen before and that they don't want to leave. And I think when you tell stories that are personal to you and stories that come from your land, from people around you, then you make people enter a world that they haven't seen before. And as an audience, I don't think I've seen so many stories from Assam as yet. I'm sure there's millions and millions of stories to tell here. So I think if they're told with a lot of heart and they're told with a lot of honesty, I don't see why this film industry can't be as big as any other film industry.
उम्मीद है कि किट्टू भी हमको हेल्प करेंगे असम की कहानी को बॉलीवुड में लाने के लिए।
हाँ जी बिल्कुल, आप आइएगा कैडो में और आप देखिएगा कि
थैंक यू सर,
स्टार्ट कीजिएगा कुछ।
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।
थैंक यू, थैंक्स।
We have another lady there.
Finally a lady.
Hi Kunal.
Hi.
Before I ask my question, I'd just like to say that you're one of my favorite actors, and the best part about you is you are very, very natural and effortless on screen.
Thank you so much.
This is something which is very different and unique about you. But still, is there any actor in the industry who is your idol, whom you want to become like? Any particular trait or overall as a person?
I actually have reached a place where I don't want to be like anybody else now. When you're starting off, you look at actors and you say, I would love to be like this, or I'd love to do something like him, or I'd love my voice to be like Amitabh Bachchan, or I'd love to, when you're starting off, you want to be different people and different actors. I think when you work a lot, you start realizing that, especially as an actor, what's most important is what you can bring as an individual. So that's, I've reached a place where I don't want to be like anybody else, but I want to discover a lot more of myself and see what I can bring to screen. But, in terms of, if I had to pick up qualities from different people, I think I'd pick up, the risk-taking ability that Amir Khan has. I think he's amazing. He was, at a time when people were doing 12 films a year, he was the first one that said, I had only one film. And at that time, people thought he was crazy. And, he said, I want a fully bound script in an industry where scenes were written on the spot. And people said nobody's going to work with him. So he was somebody that took risks. In terms of energy, Shah Rukh Khan, because he's just absolutely insane. I don't know how it's possible for a human being to be like that. I think he is RA1. He doesn't sleep, he just plugs himself in and then he starts again. In terms of dedication, of course, Mr. Bachchan, Nasir Bhai, they're just amazing. Like I said, they've been acting for 40, 50 years and they still put in the same amount of effort, same amount of enthusiasm. So there's a lot of things that you pick up from different people, but in terms of how I'd like to express myself as a creative person, I think it would be more individualistic. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, there we have two hands in the back.
Hi Kunal.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome to Assam.
Thank you. Thanks, man.
Yeah, Kunal, I want to ask you one thing. In India, there are so many topics for making a film. But what do you suggest to them who copy film actually from Hollywood, from South? What do you suggest to them?
What can I suggest?
Copy filmmakers.
Yeah, I can't suggest anything because a lot of the copy filmmakers are big filmmakers. So if I say something, they'll never take my advice. So I should not suggest anything. But I don't know, it's up to each one. I mean, some people feel like they can get a seed of an idea from somewhere else and make a film out of that. Some people feel like, I've heard of directors that pick up DVDs and they're on the set and they watch a scene and they would say, I want the scene to be shot like that. So, there's different strokes for different folks. I don't think I would enjoy that at all. I think for me it's very important that it's a creative process. What can you bring of yourself into it? What are the stories that you want to tell? What is it that's close to your heart? And if you are going to remake a film, I think it's very important to buy the rights of the film. Instead of changing 5 scenes and pretending like, it was an original idea. And document, there have been people that have copied films and talked about how, I had a filmmaker that came to me once and he said, sir, I've been working on this idea for 4 years. And I was sleeping one night and I got the germ of the idea, and then I woke up in the morning and I started writing it. I was like, this guy is really impressive, because he's been living with this idea for 4 years, and then I was really impressed with the idea. So I went to a friend of mine and I was narrating it to him, and he was a filmmaker. And he said, oh, I just saw the movie last week. The same movie. So I said, no, it can't be. He was talking about the film really passionately. So he said, no, but I saw the same film last week. And then I watched the film, and all the scenes were the same. And everything that he had spoken about was the same. And I was like, this is absolutely shameless.
So we have another one there.
Excuse me, Kunal. I already have a mic. Okay, so first of all, Kunal, on behalf of my girlfriend, I'd like to tell you I love you, because she's not here. She's just crazy about you, and she couldn't be here because of her job. She's in office right now.
Well, I love you too, and I don't love you.
Okay, so my question to you is, we see a lot of actors acting in theatre and also acting in films.
Sure.
So that is on camera. So we see actors who are really good in theatres may not be that good on camera.
Sure.
And actors who are good on camera may not be that good on theatre. So why this difference, and what are the kind of tips that you'd like to give such actors who are not that good in both the medium?
Well, I'm not good at both the mediums, so I don't know if I can give tips to everybody. But I think usually what happens is that if you're good in one medium, you should be good at the other, because at the crux of it, they're the same. It's just the projection of it is different. You project a lot more in theatre and you project a lot less in cinema. But the energy, the work that you do for a character, the preparation that you put in is pretty much the same. So if you're a good actor in theatre, then you should generally be a good actor in cinema. And cinema actors, it might be difficult to make the transition to theatre, because it's a very different sort of, like I said, the projection is very different. You're in front of a live audience. In cinema, the craft is very different. I think from what I've heard and spoken to a couple of theatre actors, what they find difficult in cinema is that, in theatre you're on the stage, right? And you're performing, there's no interruption, there's no disturbance, and you have a flow to your performance. When you're acting in cinema, what happens is that you have a cutter here, and you have a thermocol here, and then somebody says you have to face the light, and then there's a camera, and there's 100 people that are walking around and talking. So it's a very different sort of space that you put into, and at the same time, there's no continuity. So I'll do a close-up where I'll say something, and then I'll say the next line 1 hour later in a long shot after the lighting is changed. So the continuity is not there. So I think that is a little challenging for somebody that starts off in theatre, from theatre to come into cinema, because it is a different craft. But I think if you're a good actor, eventually you sort of circumvent that, and your craft sort of overtakes the problems that you have getting used to that medium.
Thank you.
And we just have one more question, because we have another 5 minutes, so we'll just have one more question.
Sir.
Good evening, how are you?
My question to you is, how do you balance your professional and personal life?
How do I balance it? Firstly, I should be doing a lot more movies. I've done very few films. I should, this is my resolution to myself, is to do a lot more movies. How do I balance it? I don't think it's an effort, because I always take time out to do the things that I love. Like I said, I go flying, I drive cars, I love reading, so I'm reading all the time. I'm writing some scripts now, co-writing, co-developing scripts. I have a close-knit bunch of friends and we hang out really often. So it's never been an effort for me to sort of balance the two out. And the thing with movies is that you can get very lucky if you're shooting a movie with a bunch of people that you love, that you like also is good. That will also work. It's because you're going for 2 months away with these bunch of people. If you get along, it becomes the most fun thing that you can do in your life. Because you shoot together, you hang out together after you're done with the shooting, you wake up in the morning, you have breakfast together, you have lunch together, you hang out together constantly. So if you have a bunch of people that you enjoy working with, movie making is the most fun thing to do. There's an actor that told me that, you know, actors are like gypsies. So you have a kabila and all that, you know, you have your tent, and you all come together with these tents and you set up a kabila for 2-3 months. And then you all get along, party, you know, make a movie, do things together. And then everybody picks up their tents and goes the other way. And everybody else goes the other way. And then you start a new kabila. So it's very important that the kabila that you start is with a bunch of people that you like, because then it becomes a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Well, there he is. He's been like raising his hand for a long time, so we should give the mic there.
Hello, Kunal. Welcome to Guwahati. Right here.
Oh, damn, you're really far away. Yeah.
He's been raising his hand for a
Some
long time.
grand entrance here.
I have been raising my hands in eternity, so that's not possible. So, welcome to Guwahati first of all.
Thank you, thanks man.
My question revolves rather around the digital part of filmmaking.
Sure.
So, you have been one of the first actors to feature in one of the YouTube video. If I'm not mistaken, you have featured in East India comedies, Rande Bazonga.
Yeah.
So, after you, there was a horde of people featured in YouTube videos.
Sure.
So, from that moment, be it East India comedy, be it AI, be it BVF, these things have made an inroad into filmmaking. So don't you think YouTube right now in 2015 April has evolved as a more powerful sibling of cinema?
Well, I don't know about more powerful right now. I mean, cinema obviously has a whole different experience to it. But yeah, YouTube is huge, man. I mean, I think it's the future. You know, I think when you look at how much time people spend on YouTube, I know my nephew spends about 5-6 hours a day. You know, it's easily accessible to everybody. There's so many people online. So I think, yeah, YouTube is the future. You know, the way content is going to be distributed in the future is going to be very different, I think, than just being, you know, in a cinema and watching movies in a theater. I mean, there's Netflix. Have you guys heard of Netflix? So Netflix has really changed the way, you know, television is watched in the States, because what they do now is that the shows that they make, they offer all the shows, the whole season at one go. So you don't have to wait every week for a show. And that is something that has really changed how television is watched and viewed there. So similarly, I think YouTube in the coming years, already there's so many channels and there's so many you know, people that are monetizing it and making a lot of money off it. And a lot of YouTube stars are now becoming movie stars. So I think that line is going to blur really quickly. And yeah, you're right, YouTube is going to be like I don't know about more powerful, but it's going to be a worthy ally.
I have one more question.
Sure.
And I have one more question. If you act for 2 films simultaneously,
Yeah.
suppose you were working for Dawn 2 or any other film simultaneously, how tough or easy is it for you to detach from the characters if they're very from each other?
Well, you know, I've never done that. But again, it comes down to how much you prepared for the characters, really, honestly. If you put in a lot of preparation into the characters before you go and shoot that film, I think it would be a lot easier. Otherwise, I think it would be a bit of a nightmare to shoot, you know, one film, you're shooting as one character, then you're going somewhere else and shooting another film as another character. I think that can be a bit of a nightmare. But you know, there was a time in the movies where actors were shooting 12 movies simultaneously. I remember speaking to Madhuri Dixit, and she said that she used to shoot 3 films in a day, and 3 different films in a day. So she was going from one set to the other to the other. So there was a time when actors were doing that, but I think actors of this generation prefer to do one film at a time, and I think that is the right way to do it.
We'll just take the questions.
Thank you so much.
Like, he didn't get the mic. If somebody can just get him the mic for him.
Thank you so much for the mic. Hello?
Finally, I can hear you.
What I want to say is that currently the film scenario in Assam is very bad. It's like whatever film we make, it's around 50 to 20 lakhs of budget, and we don't recover it. So the main thing that Punjab and south of India has done is that they've taken Bollywood stars in their films, since they have the budget for that, and they make their films and they gross good amount. Now if, as an actor, if I ask you, more if I make a film, and the budget is 20 lakh, and I ask you for the film, would you come in? Like if I pay you...
Sure. Not just me, I think a lot of actors, see, if you have an interesting script, I don't think that's true for Punjab though, because Punjab, has not taken any famous Bollywood actors, and they're not they're actors that are Punjabi actors only.
Yeah, but still North India, couple of them, many of the people are from North India, so they join in the films and they are big known faces.
Not really. The only person that I can think of is Jimmy Shergill. He's the only one that is acting in Punjabi films and Hindi films. Nobody else is doing that really. But as an actor, I think it's very exciting for me to do a film in any language, even if the budget is really small. I mean, the film that I've just done right now is called Kaun Kitne Pani Mein. It's with Neela Madhav Panda, Meena and Kalam. And we worked on a really small budget. We shot the whole film in Odisha. It's the first time I think the film has been shot in Odisha, and is about the Odia culture. And it's actually a farce, a really funny look at the water issue. And it's been done in a really sort of entertaining way. But it's a small budget film, and I was very, very happy to do that because the story is really cool. And Odia culture is something that I've never seen on screen. So like I'm saying is that if you have a really interesting story here, it doesn't matter whether it's 1 lakh or 50,000 or 10,000, it really is not, it might seem like it is an issue, but it really is not for somebody that's looking to act in interesting things.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a little difficult to access people from Bollywood.
Yeah, sure. I mean, accessibility is difficult because, honestly, it's not only about Assam, but even if somebody calls me up and says that I'm making a Punjabi film and I want you to act in it, it's difficult for me to know who that person is, what he's done before, does he have an interesting idea or not an interesting idea. But as an actor myself, I always ask the person to send a synopsis. Because if I like the synopsis, then I'm open to meeting them and interacting with them. So I think I don't know how difficult it is to get people's emails. I think nowadays, in today's world, it's pretty easy because if you go to an agency that handles the actor's work, then it's an email is pretty easy to get.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Well, Kunal, I think...
Excuse me?
Yes, who's that?
Hello, Kunal.
Hi.
Well, this discussion is just get started. It's getting on.
Okay, thank you so much. Actually.
So, I want to know, how do you want yourself to be remembered as after a few years, like as a good actor, as an assistant director, or a scriptwriter, or something more?
Honestly, I don't give a shit about how I'm remembered now because I'm not going to be around to experience it anyway. So it really doesn't matter. For me, what really matters is I want to enjoy what I'm doing at this moment. So I enjoyed myself as an assistant director, even though I was a bit of a slave. But if I have to, if people have to look back and say, what do you do with this life? I think it would be an assortment of a lot of things. I don't think I want people to turn back and look at me and say, oh, he was a great actor, but he was a shit human being. I think it's got to be a combination of everything.
I think with that, we'll take a close. Thank you so much for this question, and I think it's been more of understanding and getting to know you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for being here at the Brahmaputra Film Festival. And I think before I close, I think the three Aspen fellow, we have Tanushree out there, and we have you, and we have me. So it's just like, it's really nice that I think the whole motto of Aspen is all about doing social good, whatever you do.
Sure.
So would you like to close with some message to everybody here in the Northeast?
Well, the message is, it's very simple for me is that, because I've got a crowdfunding platform which is Keto. It would be really nice if everybody that's in this auditorium can go and check it out. It's called ketto.org. And we are attempting to do something which we feel needs to be done. We are attempting to make charity accessible to people and easy to people. And we all us guys spend 5, 6, 7 hours online on our phones. I think if you would take 5 minutes out of that, you could start a fundraiser, you could contribute to a fundraiser, and you could help somebody. So I think it's something that I'm really passionate about, and I think it would be great if people can just go and check that out.
Thank you, Kunal. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hasina. Thank you, Kunal. And we really look forward to see you at Yoga.